inside the 6 most secret and isolated hollows of the Appalachian Mountains. Starting with number 6. In the 6th place, Chunky Gal Hollow sits deep within the Nantahala National Forest of North Carolina, marked by a closure order that still raises more questions than it answers. In 1974, the United States Forest Service officially sealed off this watershed, citing the need for protection. Yet the paper trail quickly grows murky. The year before, the Tennessee Valley Authority conducted a hydrologic survey of the area, but when a Freedom of Information Act request was filed decades later, 11 pages of that report were withheld, blacked out under Exemption 4 for commercial secrecy. The public release shows only broad maps and technical summaries, leaving the most sensitive details hidden from view. This quantifiable gap, 11 missing pages, is the closest thing to a metric for government secrecy in the region. While other hollows on the list will hinge on oral tradition and local silence, Chunky Gal Hollow stands out for the way official protection seems to double as a shield for missing information. Here, the mystery is not just what happened on the ground, but what was deliberately kept off the record. In the 5th place, Troublesome Creek Hollow in Knott County, Kentucky, stands as a rare example where the mystery is built not on missing paperwork, but on a deliberate act of silence. The story begins in 1938 with a field survey led by Amos Fletcher, whose journal entry, now preserved in the Eastern Tennessee Historical Society's archives, records a moment when local families at the head of the hollow refused to let their land be measured. Fletcher's words, written in careful script, describe how the residents declined to mark boundaries or allow any official plat to be drawn. As a result, no survey plat was ever filed, and the hollow's outline quietly faded from county maps in the years that followed. Later, USGS quadrangles show only a blank space where property lines should have run. Oral testimonies from descendants echo Fletcher's account, describing a community pact to keep outsiders away and official records incomplete. Unlike other hollows where government action or corporate buyouts erased communities, Troublesome Creek Hollow's disappearance from the record was shaped by the will of its own residents. The absence here is total. No legal challenge, no condemnation, just a hollow that slipped from the official landscape, preserved only in memory and a single field journal. In the 4th place, Sawmill Hollow in McDowell County, West Virginia, stands out for the way a single transaction redrew the fate of an entire community. In 1947, Consolidated Coal Company purchased 3,200 acres here, a tract that included every home, outbuilding, and patch of farmland in the hollow. The records, preserved in the RG 95 acquisition files and McDowell County tax receipts, show a ledger of payouts that ranged from just $40 to $212 per household. For the families who lived here, 61 people in all, these sums amounted to little more than the price of a used truck or a season's supply of coal. The buyout, documented in a deed ledger now held at the county courthouse, left no room for negotiation or appeal. Residents were told their land was needed for development, but the real motive was resource consolidation. Within months, the hollow emptied out, houses boarded up, and the land passed quietly into corporate hands. A 1974 Forest Service memo later notes that the same tract was placed under closure for watershed protection, echoing the earlier displacement. Unlike places erased by silence or oral tradition, Sawmill Hollow's story is written in numbers, acres, dollars, names struck from the tax rolls, showing how economic power can silence a community as effectively as any locked gate or missing map. In the third place, Redbird Hollow in Clay County, Kentucky, stands as a stark example of how a community can vanish from the official record without a trace of forced removal or resettlement. In 1910, the federal census listed 12 households at the head of Redbird Hollow, names, ages, and occupations carefully recorded in the enumeration sheets now preserved on microfilm at the National Archives. Yet by 1920, the same census omits any mention of the hollow. The enumeration district is still there, but the area once known as Redbird is left blank. No notation of abandonment, no record of disaster, no legal notice of condemnation. The silence in the census is total. County Board minutes from 1922, reviewed in the Clay County Courthouse, add only a cryptic line, "No further action." There are no files of relocation, no compensation ledgers, no petitions for assistance, just the abrupt end of a community's statistical existence. The absence is so complete that even local oral tradition offers only fragments, with older residents recalling warnings not to settle in the hollow, but never describing an event that would explain the disappearance. Unlike other Appalachian hollows shaped by corporate buyouts or government closure orders, Redbird's mystery lies in the bureaucratic void itself. The power of omission, 12 families erased not by force, but by the quiet turning of a census page, raises questions about how easily a place can be lost to history, leaving behind only a gap in the statistics and a hollow without a story. In the second place, Clingman Fork winds through Swain County, North Carolina, carrying a legacy of both federal secrecy and indigenous absence. The heart of its mystery lies in a 1936 Tennessee Valley Authority memo, filed as TVA 36 FS 37, classified for 6 decades and only declassified in 2001. That memo, now referenced in the RG 142 FOIA docket, describes a fire-cleared site along Clingman Fork. Provisions were found, but not a single resident. Officially, the area was marked as uninhabited, a detail that would later justify its omission from land surveys and population rolls. Yet Cherokee oral tradition tells a different story. According to a descendant interviewed for the Southern Appalachian Oral History Project, Clingman Fork was once part of an ancestral trail, a seasonal route before the forced removals of the 1830s. She recalls, "Our people walked that water, long before the surveyors said it was empty." The TVA memo's long classification, locked away for 65 years, raises questions about what was meant to be forgotten. Why would a fire site report require such secrecy? And what does it mean when official documents insist on no inhabitants in a place remembered in Cherokee memory? In Clingman Fork, the gap between bureaucratic record and lived history is stark. The silence in the files is not just an absence of people, but an erasure of presence, a hollow remembered by some, but written out by others. And finally, in first place, a hollow on the Tennessee and North Carolina border, stands the purest mystery in the entire Appalachian region, a place so erased it no longer carries a name. Known only in a handful of oral accounts as the unnamed drainage, this valley physically exists, yet appears on official maps as nothing more than a blank contour, with no federal or state record acknowledging its presence. The story centers on Daniel Pruitt's 2008 field investigation, a 3-month effort to trace the boundaries of this hollow using GPS logs and archival overlays. Pruitt reportedly found no mention of the drainage in United States Forest Service or TVA files, and his field notebook, housed in the University of Tennessee Special Collections, contains only coordinates and a single cryptic note. Let alone hollow, nobody goes there. The phrase came from the last known resident, an elderly woman who, when asked about the place, simply said, "They let it alone, always did." No closure order exists, no compensation records, no census listing, just a valley that was, at some point, quietly omitted from every survey and map. Satellite imagery from the National Agriculture Imagery Program in 2023 confirms the hollow's physical features: a narrow creek, dense canopy, and the faint trace of an abandoned footpath. Yet, when cross-referenced with USFS and TVA records, the area is labeled only as unnamed drainage, and every official inquiry returns a standard "no record found" response. The silence is total, not just a gap in paperwork, but a deliberate absence that lingers in both bureaucracy and memory. In this final hollow, the convergence of vanished documentation, local reticence, and the refusal of agencies to even acknowledge a name creates the deepest secrecy of all, a place that endures, unclaimed and unwritten, on the edge of the historical record. Across all 6 hollows, one pattern stands out. Official records fade where secrets deepen. The more authorities erase, the more questions linger. These gaps aren't just lost history, they fuel Appalachia's lasting air of mystery. In the end, what's missing often says more than what remains. Thanks for watching.